Assalamu alaikum and good evening. Assalamu alaikum and good evening. আয়ন টিভির পর্দায় যারা আছেন এবং যারা ফেসবুক এবং ইউটিউবে লাইভ স্ট্রিমিংয়ে আছেন তাদেরকে জানাচ্ছি এডুকেশন অ্যান্ড ক্যারিয়ার উইথ নাজিম শোতে আমন্ত্রণ অ্যান্ড স্বাগতম। আজকে আমার একটা স্পেশাল গেস্ট আছেন, উনি হচ্ছেন আমিরুল ভাই চৌধুরী, আমিরুল চৌধুরী। তো আমি ওনাকে আমির ভাই ডাকি, আমিরুল ভাই ডাকি। আমির ভাই, you are a special guest to me because you have done something that I always puzzled about. How can such a young man remain young for such a long period of time and connected to so many people in our community and doing business and philanthropic work, a living icon for all of us to emulate. So I wanted to welcome you to our show.
Thank you, Nazim Bhai. It is an absolute honor and a pleasure to be in your show.
Excellent. So our guest, please be a part of this show, and if you have any questions or comments, you can always comment on our Facebook and YouTube pages, and at the same time you can give us a call on the number that you can see on the screen. Sky 782 Ion TV, we're always with you. Please stay tuned. So I will now firstly go ahead and Amirul Bhai, I wanted to just let you know that this show will be divided into 3 different segments. In the first segment, I wanted you to share your story with us, with all of us. Your formative years, for example, from childhood to, let's say, high school and college. And then I will say transformation and transition years. So this is more about going into universities, getting the first job, and then creating your first business, and then moving on to, let's say, 40 years. And then, of course, leadership and legacy. I know you have created some unique companies that contributed so much to our communities. Chital Communication is one. Jonomot is another one, yes. But you are also one of the big companies, construction companies, chief executive officer. And you have full knowledge about planning, regulation, business development, construction, so many things that we can learn from you. But this show is aiming to target younger generations and parents. So, approach them sometime as a parent. You are a father of 3. And also, if you look back your childhood, also share your ideas with younger people.
Sure.
So I want to invite you to share your formative years of life, foundation and formative years of your life.
Alhamdulillah, thank you very much. I am here, and as I said, it's an honor and a privilege to be part of your show, Nazim Bhai. And particularly, this show, I just came here for the first time, and I can see what you're targeting and what your message is. So it's always, I'm sure you'd say the same thing, it is always very difficult to talk about yourself, right? But highlighting something about yourself that can help others, it's always, we have to do that. So in light of this, about myself, I came with my father and my mother in 1976 when we came to this country. I was 5 years old. So when we came to this country, obviously, just like everybody else, we stayed, and I am the youngest in the family of 4 brothers and 2 sisters. So therefore, my mother, I was the youngest being, so my mother took me with her back to Bangladesh. So I stayed here and stayed in Bangladesh and went to the local primary school. So Pashala Pash, 1980, I think in 81, I came back here with my dad again. And then when I came back, my immediate older brother, I stayed with him and basically went to the normal education system, went to a primary school, lived in Finsbury Park, and then moved to secondary school, the normal progression. It was a different time at that time. When we look at 1980s, when I went to school, I remember it was just literally, there's probably about 5%, Bangladeshi kids in any school, and maybe combined together 10% when you look at Asians. Then you've got the black and community and all that. So there was a different time. This country, I mean, we always go back, and I think that time was a different time. The way you're growing up, your work experiences, and all of that stuff were completely different. So, however, through this process, at that time we did our O levels, and I did a BTech National Diploma in Business and Finance. That was just a choice. I think I always had an entrepreneurial spirit within me, and I tell you why. The first ever product or company we set up, it was called S&A Filming Company. It was me and my business partner, my nephew, and we used to do video filmings, and we still have some of the stuff available. So entrepreneurial element, and you being a very successful entrepreneur, Nazim Bhai, it's something tells you within that I have the ability to sell something, yeah, to someone and make a profit. And I think we both will agree. And that is a very simple concept. And when that concept works, then you look at, hold on, I've just sold one item and I made, let's just say £1. Then how do we sell 1,000 of those? And that becomes the challenge, that becomes the logistical thinking, that becomes how do you put everything together, which then allows you to excel into the real business world. So I even, so when I look back and I think, what did I do? I think a lot of people, we are blessed to get all the credentials, credits from people when you're successful. People always think, oh my God, I worked so hard and you did really well and everything else. But often you look at yourself, I didn't really do anything. All I did is I followed something. And yes, of course you need, one of the key things you need is support. You need the freedom and the independence, you know, particularly from your families. And you know, when we were having a conversation as we were walking into the studio, I think I was very blessed because my brother, who is an academic himself, he provided me a very complete freedom. So I had no worries of mortgage, bills, nothing. I just slept, and all I was thinking about how to make my money, how to do this. But I made my contribution to the family through my, you know, entrepreneurial journey, and alhamdulillah, everyone has benefited from that. But that comfort was the biggest thing for me, because if you were stressed out and you didn't have all these opportunities, then it wouldn't have been that easy for me to be able to embark on that journey. So came along after I finished my national diploma. I applied. I was just about to go to university and do my BA honours in business and finance, and suddenly the opportunity came of the mobile phones. So there was so much, as you know, there's so much going on about the technology enhancements, if you like, and therefore came Mercury 1-to-1. I think they issued 2 or 3 licenses at that time, and Cable and Wireless and AT&T took 1 license the UK government just gave, which was the Mercury 1-to-1 brand. And that brand came, and there were other people selling. So I and my, you know, co-founders, we started selling for another company. And then we realized that we are doing most of the selling for them. Remember, it's a natural entrepreneurial thinking. I want to do it myself, right? You know? So I started making phone calls and looking for who is giving out the dealership. And the dealership was then granted in Birmingham. They said, if you come to Birmingham, we'll give you a dealership, because London, we're not taking anyone. So I mean, I decided I'm going to go to Birmingham. I just left everything as a way. Can you see how the entrepreneurs were cycling?
Absolutely.
I said, I'm going to go to Birmingham. So I went to Birmingham. We got a shop. Then I got an apartment. I said, I'm here. And they said, okay, if you're in Birmingham and you're that desperate, we'll give you a dealership. So they gave us a dealership. So me and my co-partners, you know, we were very fortunate. We got the dealership and everything. So we started ordering the phones, and we basically flooded the market. So you remember I told you, the idea was that how much you're making. We wouldn't even, bluntly I'll tell you, I never looked at how much profit you were making. The idea was to reach the target. So a lot of people don't, again, it's a blessing. A lot of people probably think, I've got to check all this, whatever. But the idea was to meet the target. There's a plan, and if you meet the target, you get paid. And then obviously the paycheck started coming, and oh my God, I felt so. Every day of the week, whenever I get an opportunity, I say, Ya Allah, I'm grateful to you for you have shown me a path, because you can do how much hard work, but you need to be shown some path. That needs to be happening, and I'm sure, Nazim Bhai, you'll agree with me. So that happened. So we became very big in the communication sector. We were doing thousands of mobile phones connections. We had 3-4 shops, shopping centers, and all that stuff. So we moved accordingly along with everything that was happening. So we did. So practically from there on, in 1995, again, one day I was sitting at home, me and my brother was eating on the table, and he said the government has, he was a senior housing officer and is a lecturer in the university, and he said to me, the people who are living in the properties, the ex-local authority houses, the government has introduced the 75% discount. Do you see?
Yeah, yeah.
And when my brother said that to me, I always pick up things very quickly.
Yeah, yeah.
I had that thing in me, Nazim bhai. And then my brother started telling everybody, and most of our families, everybody, including my dad's property, which my brother, obviously looked after passing away. My brother bought that as well, and he told many other friends, and we jumped onto that.
Yes,
quite
yes.
well. I think me and my brother, we both jumped, along with many, many thousands of people. But being a housing officer, he had all the first-hand information. So
yeah.
again, we bought, alhamdulillah, আমরা যাই কিনছি property গুলা, we bought properties and all that stuff. Therefore, if you're buying a property for 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, Nazim bhai, you can imagine, you're like picking up. So again, alhamdulillah, ঠিক না, এটা তো আমরা কোনো প্ল্যান করি নাই. You see, it came. Something has blessed us with the knowledge and information. So we bought properties, and that's how my property journey started. Then we're looking at the rental market and everything else. Good life, because until George Osborne came and started changing. You're into properties and you know that, right? And which was quite a normal thing. So again, that was another, like how I did Mercury 1-to-1, that was another opportunity came in. And then came, you do the residential market, which is like you're making 600, 700 pound profit. And suddenly you start thinking, what do people do with the commercial properties? And then you start delving into that, and then I delve into that area as well. So delving into the commercial side of the properties gave you a different dynamics, thinking, you have to think differently, the longevity, how fast, what you can put, the tenants, covenant, and the legal elements that comes with it, and the complications. So again, then I joined my best friend, one of my best friends, Atiq Chowdhury, the founder of Yum Yum Thai restaurant up in Kitchen. So I joined with him, and we started buying commercial properties as well. So that's where, how the transition has happened, and how I've climbed the ladder is based on those things. But of course, every time I made a move, I tried to at least understand that how much risk is there. There's always a risk, but there's a time that comes in, you almost think there is no risk, because you're an entrepreneur, remember, Nazim bhai, if I've done all my tick boxes, then there is no risk. The job is done.
Calculated risk.
Calculated risk.
Yeah, you reduce it.
And reduce it.
You go through the checklist and reduce
Checklist,
it.
yes.
And
then I started learning about, again, being with my good friend Atiq, who is a serial entrepreneur. He's got tons of commercial properties. And then we started noticing Foxtons taking your property, letting to Foxtons, Costa, all of these brands. Suddenly you develop a route into that brand. And suddenly, as a commercial landlord, you also become highlighted within the corporate world, that you can provide, you can facilitate the likes of Starbucks, likes of Costa. You have the knowledge and understanding, because to let it to these people, your legal compliance and your property compliance has to be top standard,
top class.
You cannot say, the guest certificate, I'll give it to you tomorrow. You can't say that. So you are, again, you're being tightened, you're being, you're really shaping all the time, if you like, you see, and you're really getting more aggressive, and you no longer remember the complications, because to you it's just a daily life. So As I said, we can, whenever we get asked this question, I'm sure you've fallen into that situation many times. It's all about just making sure that what makes the other person near you doing well. We're not talking about copying anybody. We're talking about perhaps learning something really good from certain people. And over the years, I've always ensured that let's see, how my people are doing on the other side. How other people are doing. How they do things. You have to have the education piece intact in every little thing you do, which you guys are into, yourself.
It's an amazing story. So, colleagues and friends, so Amirul Bhai has shared his illustrious journey. The guy, he came here at the age of 5, and then he went back with his mom, and then studied in Bangladesh in Pathshala, and then came back at about 10 and 11, and lived with his brother. So, uprooted twice. Uprooted twice, and he adapted himself.
Continuously.
Stayed away from parents and coped with the brothers who loved him tremendously. So I think from here we can see one thing. The pattern is that despite our love and connection, we need to look after the interest of the kids so that they can thrive in the real world. Yes?
Totally.
So absolutely. So as a parent, we need to let our child grow so that they can provide a meaningful contribution to the society.
Exactly.
Our love should enriches them. Our love should not be a prison.
Definitely.
Yes, so that's one message I learned from this story. The second thing I learned is that own brother gave him protection and a shelter. He was like a bodgas. And generally, under a bodgas, another tree cannot thrive. But what Amirul Bhai has done, he has used that shelter to find his root, and he found his space and grew up. So what are the skills I spotted here? So the first thing is he started his business in school. Now, you cannot be a salesman. Sales is the tip of the iceberg. Underneath the sales, you need social capital. You need to be extrovert. And we need to have the persuasion skills.
Definitely.
So developing those skills from childhood is immensely valuable. I think so. That's why we need to support our kids so that they become extrovert, they become open-minded, and they can see the social trends. Yes,
definitely.
And then they build connections.
Yes.
And they build their social capital through connection, and then they should persuade each other. Persuasion needs to develop. It's a skill. It's not a thing that you learn in the book.
Definitely.
So, for example, going out with friends, he will hammer each other. Yeah. There will be a bit of fight. There will be a bit of chit chat, and then you develop your persuasion skills. And then sales is ultimately the tip of that iceberg. So I think we all need to support our kids so that they become open-minded, they become socially connected, so that they can network each other, and they persuade others, and always they need to make their own living. The God has given us 2 feet. They need to know how to stand on their 2 feet. Is that right, Amirul Bhai?
100%. And Nazim Bhai, like you just said about the children's side, yeah? I always tell my kids, even the eldest one, the younger, I said, listen, when I came to this country, when I left with my brother has worked extremely hard. Yeah, and I learned that element that how hard he worked, and I worked hard. The idea is never look at your parents' wealth. I told my children, I said, do you know what? If you say to yourself, whatever my dad's got, my mom's got, I don't want it, then you will know what you're going for. And of course, this will be left for you, but you have to look at for your own independence. What we do is, many of us get too boggled into the idea of what we're going to leave for our children. And this is just me, that's my personal view. I've learned that I'm leaving nothing for my children, but if something is left over and left behind, and help of Allah, Allah's wills, they'll get it. but they should never look at that wealth. They should
Absolutely.
find their own independence, go out there. You'll notice, Nazim, but you go to when you go to, but you've got, how old is your eldest children, yours?
My eldest one is 14 and the youngest one is 4.
Okay, so as you go towards the secondary school education pieces, and as you arrive to the next chapter, you will notice everybody talks about every prospectus. Well, anyway, look, who am I talking to? Every prospectus talks about we as a school would like to ensure that children are go into their own independent learning,
Yes.
independent mindset.
Yes.
And this is the one I somehow, now I realize that when my dad came here during the East India Dock Company days, he left an independent mind. He said to my mom, probably, I'm going to leave, I'm going to London, I'm going to go by Jaj and whatever, and I'll make sure I'll work and we'll build our life. And
Yes.
that's exactly what happened. But if my dada said to him, "Nare baba, tumi goro takhwaza that what we wouldn't be here."
No, I mean, even for example, let's say, even for example, my granddad
Yeah.
migrated to Burma.
Right.
He stayed there for 5 years, yes?
Yeah.
So even my dad, they did not even show us many love. Because back at that time, generally parents, especially father, had to be tough.
Had to be tough.
Because to earn bread,
Yes.
you have to, go out
You have to
and
go
earn
out.
your bread.
Yes.
And you cannot be really connected to your family so much
Definitely.
that will, that will push him towards the home. I think one more thing I wanted to explore here. So you, of course, spotted a lot of opportunities. Now, what I am asking, what motivated you? What motivated you to spot the opportunity? There is a Chinese proverb. It says, opportunities favor a prepared mind. So you spotted the opportunity because you had a prepared mind.
I think you were
What
spot on.
made you prepare your mind? What drove you to spot those opportunities?
I think there is something which told me that I wanted. I for some reason when my dad went back to Bangladesh and he passed away, and I looked at my brother. He was working for local authorities at that time. He was a senior officer, and he obviously earned whatever he did. Most of the money he was giving it to families and supporting everybody, because obviously we were a young family at that time. And I somehow looked at how can I contribute to this, to make this easier. And of course, having the entrepreneurial mindset, like you said, you have to be prepared. I mean, you do all the odd things. I mean, I sold, what did I used to sell? I used to sell so many things when I was young. Comics, this, that. Was it to sell something? Was one of the mind has to continuously, is always looking for something. And I looked at ways how to better our family from where it was. It was already there. I mean, our family was very established, everybody was highly educated in the family. But I wanted to add the financial growth in it. But I did not know that Allah has blessed me to embark on a journey for a mega growth. But you always look at, I've got small starting. When you listen to entrepreneurs, right? Even if you speak to our, well-known Iqbal Bhai stories, he started as a grocery.
Yeah.
But there are many people who started as a grocery, but have they been able to embark on the journey? Yourself, you went on to look in something, a small college probably, you probably didn't know that you will end up where you are. So yes, what you were saying, Nazim Bhai, was that something has to drive you. For some reason, that's what drove me. My family, my loved ones, my eldest brother. I think I developed a serious love for my very eldest brother, who passed away, basically quite early age. So in his 40s, I was 38, I think. And that made me feel like that, because my eldest brother made the major contribution to us when my father passed away, in terms of love, like you said. So you always think, what can I do? And when an opportunity comes, you always think, okay, I can do this, I can do that, I can buy lots of more lands, more this, more that in here. So yeah, going back to your original question, is that it's to do with me and how I want to see my wider family, all succeed and enjoy the good things that we were able to enjoy.
Amazing, amazing. So we'll be going for a break, but before the break, let me summarize tidal wave coming in. But for the tidal wave to come in, there should be tectonic force that will push the water towards the shore, yes?
Indeed.
So in this case of Amirul Bhai, his tectonic force is his family commitment. So it's not about fulfilling his own ambition. It's not about fulfilling his own wife and son's ambition. It's about wider family support. So one thing I think we should encourage everybody is that do not look after only your world. Your world is connected to many other worlds. Take their burden, and that will drive you to achieve as much as you wanted to achieve. And that will be a bigger force. A bigger force, if you take on responsibilities of many people, then you will relentlessly work hard. Your journey will never finish because you cannot solve so many people's problems. So it's not about you achieving your own ambition. It's also achieving the ambition of your families and brothers. So colleagues, we are exploring various aspects of Amirul Bhai life, his early age, his formation years, and also his business. Now he has also some exciting news to share. He is also a media personality. He's also created so many assets, and he has done many philanthropic work. We'll explore these aspects after the break. So stay tuned, and I'll see you again. Thank you.
অ্যাকাউন্টেন্সি ও ব্যবসা সংক্রান্ত বিভিন্ন সমস্যা নিয়ে চিন্তিত? ভাবনা নেই, আছে রাব্বির অ্যান্ড কো অ্যাকাউন্টেন্টস। আমরা অ্যাকাউন্টেন্সি, ট্যাক্স রিটার্ন, অ্যানুয়াল রিটার্ন, ভ্যাট রিটার্ন, অ্যাকাউন্ট প্রিপারেশন, মিনি ক্যাব ড্রাইভার, কোম্পানি ফরমেশন সহ যে কোনো ধরনের ব্যবসায়ী প্রতিষ্ঠানের অ্যাকাউন্ট সংক্রান্ত বিভিন্ন সমস্যা 100% সমাধান দিয়ে থাকি অভিজ্ঞতা ও দক্ষতার সাথে। আমাদের ঠিকানা
442 গ্রিন স্ট্রিট, লন্ডন, E13 9DB।
ভাবনা এবার হলো শেষ। পাশে আছে রাব্বির অ্যান্ড কো অ্যাকাউন্টেন্টস।
Well Man and Well Woman, the UK's #1 vitamins for men and women. Live life well. From Vitabiotics, the UK's #1 vitamin company.
Hi food lovers, I'm Roy Sally. I'm really thrilled to invite you to one of the prestigious hospitality event MasterChef Promotion is holding at Birmingham at the Hilton Hotel. 27th of August 2025. It's going to be one of the best events in the hospitality industry. Be part of it. Book your table now.
আপনি কি ল্যান্ডলর্ড, টেনেন্ট খুঁজছেন? তাহলে আজই যোগাযোগ করুন ইকরা প্রপার্টিজে। সেলস, লেটিং কিংবা ম্যানেজমেন্ট প্রপার্টি জগতের এক অনন্য নাম ইকরা প্রপার্টিজ। আমাদের রয়েছে ফ্রি ল্যান্ডলর্ড সাপোর্ট, গ্যারান্টেড রেন্ট, 1 to 5 ইয়ার্স রেন্ট কালেকশন, ইপিসি গ্যাস অ্যান্ড ইলেকট্রিসিটি সাপোর্ট সহ ফ্রি মেইনটেনেন্স সার্ভিসেস। যোগাযোগের ঠিকানা ইকরা প্রপার্টিজ লিমিটেড, 570/A গ্রিন স্ট্রিট, লন্ডন, E13 9DA।
At Able Care, we help adults of all ages maintain their independence at home. Licensed by the Care Quality Commission, our services meet the highest standards. We offer personalized hourly visiting care and live-in care options. Our specialized dementia care provides a supportive environment. We're dedicated to compassionate end-of-life care. Need companionship or help with daily tasks? We're here for you. Able Care. Your independence our priority.
সো ভিউয়ার্স ওয়েলকাম ব্যাক। আমরা এখন আমিরুল ভাইয়ের সাথে আছি, আমিরুল চৌধুরী। উনি তো অনেকগুলো বিজনেস এবং অনেকগুলো মিডিয়া সাথে জড়িত, কিন্তু ওটাতে যাওয়ার আগে আমরা একটুখানি এক্সপ্লোর করব ওনার ট্রান্সফরমেশন অ্যান্ড ট্রানজিশন ইয়ার্সের ক্ষেত্রে। তো কোন ইউনিভার্সিটিতে গেল, কী পড়লো, তো ওর ইউনিভার্সিটি থেকে তার প্রথম জব কীভাবে হলো, তার কেরিয়ার কীভাবে ইউনিভার্সিটি থেকে গ্রো করলো। সাথে সাথে আমরা ওনার ইনভেস্টমেন্ট ইন জনমত সম্পর্কে একটু জানবো। এটা হচ্ছে কমিউনিটি ডেভেলপমেন্টের একটা অংশ। তো ওই হিসাবে মানে ডিসকাস করতে গেলে আমি এখন আমিরুল ভাইকে বলবো, আমিরুল ভাই, from your transition and transformation years, especially going into universities, studying through universities, developing skills, building friendship, getting out and then finding the job and moving into the career ladder, either entrepreneurship or job, and then building community connections, investment in Jonamot. If you can tell us that journey, please.
Well, that journey was basically, remember I told you, I went to a college, I did a BTech National Diploma in Business and Finance, and then just before I went to university, I deferred my entry because my one-to-one distribution became so mega, it was left behind. But I picked up on it later on in my life. I did a BA honours through East Anglia University. Anglia Ruskin. I did marketing and management. So the journey is basically, when I did my T-Mobile setup, Mercury 1-to-1, it was set up in East End, one of my biggest flagship store. So from that, we became very much famous in the Bangladeshi community because we were only predominantly selling it to the Bangladeshi community. So that meant the media, we used the Bangladeshi media at that time. So at that time it was all newspapers. So Talk Jonamot, and the biggest newspaper we advertised for good 15 years probably is the East End Life, which was a council-owned newspaper. আমরা সবসময় front page ছিলাম, অনেক বছর আমরা ছিলাম. So that made a community connection. So all the known faces, all the politicians, community leaders, they all got to know me in that mobile phone shop. And along that, I was supporting, a lot of people used to come and say, look, you have to support Koro Kamrata. And amongst that, one of them was my good friend Nababuddin Bhai from Jonamot and so Nasbasha Bhai. They both were promoting Natok, stage Natok. So they came to me, and I think Bipasha Hayat and Abul Hayat, they all came. I didn't know these people. I had no idea. Remember, I'm a little bit of coconut at that time. So I got to know Nawab Bhai.
Little bit of coconut. Yes.
Coconut there, yes. And then I met Nawab Bhai, became good friends, me and him. So he then said to me, we were traveling around, we were in India. We just landed in Bangalore and we were chatting away and everything. We're having a good time. Then he talked about Jonamot. He goes, I'd like you to, এটা আপনি বুঝতা না এটা জনমত টনমত এটা, but আপনি you be part of me, you understand? Yeah. So I said, look brother, whatever you want. So alhamdulillah, financially I was stable, so I made a financial contribution to this legacy, and then I became part of Jonamot then. So me and Nawab Bhai owned Jonamot together there on for a large number of years, and then Naz Bhai joined and Muslim Bhai joined. So that journey was that it was not a planned journey. It was not a planned journey. It was more about philanthropical side of my life. I thought I've helped somebody. I've helped a newspaper who needed a bit of support. I've helped the newspaper to be shaped for a better journey because Syed Samadullah Bhai, who was the editor and partner on Nawab Bhai, has basically left. And he went on to do Bangla TV. So he was going in to do something bigger and better, and Nawab Bhai felt that there was mileage in that newspaper, and there was mileage. This is still the very best newspaper, and again, as I said, I did not plan or look for it. It became part of my philanthropical life.
I went to your website today, Jonamot.
Yes.
It looks like, a fantastic website with all the latest news. It's how did you still keep it relevant? Quite an amazing story, I think. Yeah.
We try our best because basically, Nazim bhai, this newspaper, founded in 1969, it's got such a organic history. It's got a wonderful legacy. Something like that. if you throw it away or let it go, you feel guilty, you feel irresponsible in your life. So
Absolutely.
we did, and one of my other partner joined later on to part of that legacy. Obviously, a time came, Nawabai also, sort of found himself outdated from the organization because there was no need for the local distribution and everything. But yes, so then we went to the web, and the web is doing fantastic websites. We could do better, but really, sometimes how much do you do?
Yeah.
You do run out of steam a little bit, but it's running, it's fine. So that's how I came to that newspaper. And then suddenly, this is one thing, without realizing, my entrepreneurship, my life, everything got highlighted through this media work, being part of the media. So again, a lot of people try their best to highlight themselves, do something, but when you get automatically dragged in, so I've always believed that, and something that I've always looked at, that sometimes your network is your net worth. And Nawabuddin, so Nas Pasha, and many other personalities in the community has been my network, which turned into my net worth. And Alhamdulillah for that again. So it's not a plan, but I became part of it. We had a fantastic journey on that one. And yeah, so that's how John Omot came about, basically, Nazim bhai.
Amazing, amazing. I mean, Jonomot is, it's like a community window. It's a community window. They share their experience, and then you raise awareness.
Yeah.
So I think Jonomot is not only a newspaper, it's a community development tool.
100%.
Community development tool.
100%.
I think there are many communities
Yes.
everywhere. For example, I went to Switzerland, yes, and I saw many Bengali people.
Yeah.
No one even recognizes that Bangladeshi lives there. No one recognizes. But if you come to the UK, and you'll feel like you live in Bangladesh,
Yeah.
and you don't need to know anybody else. Your community is self-sufficient.
Yes.
Yes. So I think newspapers, television media, community organizations, even different associations.
Yeah.
Bangladesh Caterers Association, British
Surely.
Catering associations. These associations, these media, these community organizations actually make the whole ecosystem
Yeah.
so self profiling.
Yeah.
It's on its own. I think that's an amazing story. So I think please accept our thank for supporting John Omok, and that's our institution.
Right.
And it represents Bangladesh and Bangladeshi community.
Yes.
So please accept my thanks.
Thank you.
Now, in relation to community development wise,
Yes.
I think what we are seeing, at one point in time, we had about 10,000 Indian restaurants owned by Bangladeshis, yes?
I think you're right.
Now, I always say this, if we had purchased all those 10,000 properties, we would have had about 10,000 millionaires by now.
Yes.
Yes?
Possibly.
So that is one. I think you contributed quite a lot in that aspect too. Last week I brought in, I think, Kamrubai. He supported many people to acquire properties. And now you are also supporting many commercial businesses to thrive. So share your tips about properties, commercial world. What are the tips that you can give for the youngsters?
I think we both combinedly can do this. I know you're talking about me, but I think, Nazim bhai, everything, you must progress through things. And I was looking at, I just want to use the example, and I'm sure you used this. I was looking at Jack Ma's comments. When you grow up, it's very, very important that you go through the normal path of learning and not jump around and find ways to shortcut. Knowledge and experience, and I think when it comes to when you grow up, first I think you need a good job, build your life up, build a career up, save money, I would say to my son, get your own property first, make sure, try to pay that off first, as you've got a fast track system, then look for things, how you can do something with your savings, add some saving and whatever, do your research. There's tons of, problem nowadays is you have too much information. So on the internet and the Facebook, you just go online, you've got tons of people coming with different ideas, and they're all talking about they're better than him, they're better than him. I always say looking at credible organizations. If BBC gives the news, then we'd like to think it's credible. I know they've made their blunders time to time, but you can at least say, even they'll admit to
Most
their
of the time, let's
most
say.
of the time, even blunder করলে ওরা admit করবে আমরা
জি,
blunder
জি,
করে ফেলছি.
জি।
So you have to look at yourself and start looking at the profit side. Now the biggest thing is everybody has to see is that, are you making profit when you actually do a property deal, when you do a residential property deal? Where is the profit? And even the other parties, when you get work done in the property, don't just leave it to someone else to say, oh, this is the amount I need you to do. Do your own research. There are institutions, organizations likes of RIBA. If you go to a RIBA architect, they cannot just tell you rubbish. They've gone through the hoops and loops of life. They've got credibilities. They will say to you, Mr. Nazim, this is how the RIBA calculation works, and this is the cost of your extension will be £80,000, £70,000. So you need to see qualified people around you, and not someone who just comes in and say whatever they want. So I wouldn't call it a tips, but I just simply say, whatever you do, make sure you do your research really well, compare your researches, and always look at the credentials of where you're getting the information from, because that is very critical. And that I would say that would be the right way to move forward.
Excellent. So some tips that I received from Amirul Bhai. First thing is simple. You need to start saving money. Even if your income is £1, save at least 20p or a bit 10p. So building that habit of saving, yes. Second thing is invest your money. So if you are young students, for example, studying universities, start saving money and then buy your first home. Buy your first home, take the leverage if needed, mortgage. Some people do not prefer mortgage, but buy your first home. Put your foot in the property ladder. The second thing is start researching around it. In the UK, I think we have the total housing stock is about £8 trillion, yes?
I think so, yeah.
8 trillion
You
pound.
know better.
And a lot of rich people, if you look at top 100 rich people, many of them are property related, businessmen.
Yeah.
Or if you are even the super rich, your side business is property. The reason is, if you make investments, the investment will generate return even when you're sleeping.
Indeed.
So
Yes.
making an investment is important for all of us, yes?
Yes.
And second thing I wanted to say is that saving, investment is one. The second thing I wanted to say is we have to do our own research. Do not just simply buy things, for example, from anywhere. Undertake your research. Nowadays, I'll just give an example to you, Amirul Bhai, yes? I was taking a quotation from somebody, and he gave me a very low quote. Then what I did is I went to an online portal,
Sure.
and I got a quotation from a cost analyst, and they gave me another quote. And then I wrote the same thing on ChatGPT. They gave me different quote, yes? So getting all those quotations and then comparing it, contrasting it, and speaking to someone trustworthy and reliable is absolutely important. I think that would be my second conclusion from Amirul Bhai. So Amirul Bhai, tell us about your new ventures. You were one of the largest Bengali firms. You have worked in Bangladesh Center. It's a grade 2 listed properties.
Yeah,
so tell us a bit more about your property business,
Journey.
Construction related business.
Again, so Nazim bhai, when I started buying commercial properties with my partner Atik Bhai and whatever, then I met my good brother Junaid Chowdhury, who has a fantastic construction brain. He's pretty gifted individual. Again, spotting an opportunity, and we became very close. And his ideas have basically transformed some of my properties into very large incomes. So then one day he said to me, Amirul Bhai, look, you know what? You become part of my company, yeah? And believe me, we'll do well together. So I said to him, look, Junaid, do you really need me? I'm going to help you anyway. It's in my nature. Why not? সবাই তো আমরা একজনকে help করতে I will help you in everything you do. Don't worry about it. You set up your company. He already set up the company. He already founded Everard Construction. So he one day just turned up and says, "I've made my mind up. You're going to remain a shareholder with me." So he gave me 50% share, and I made some investment in the company. We worked together, and the company grew, came into different places, one thing another, and we've done some fantastic projects, Nazim Bhai. One of the biggest one of the initiating project was the mosque. It's called Poplar Shah Jalal Mosque. Poplar Shah Jalal Mosque, which is in Canary Wharf, near Canary Wharf, basically. We took that project on, and yes, Alhamdulillah, Junaid is the head of construction, and that's his brainchild. Got it done, and thereon we started doing so many different projects, large mosques. We've done the Canon, the Markazi Masjid, which is in Christian Street. So we've done lots of major projects. On top, we were doing all the side projects, new buildings it's our bread and butter now, basically. So came along our beloved, wonderful Bangladesh Center. That building got majorly deteriorated, and the community members, some of them has passed away, senior people. It was a grade 2 listed, but it is a grade 2 listed building, and many of these old people came up to us and said to me that, Amirul Bhai, as you're in this industry, can you help us out? So again, the help word came out, because the building fell into disrepair. And when a grade 2 listed building falls into a grade 2 disrepair, the difficulty is you cannot move an inch without the consents of the listed building consent from the local authority. And those people who look after English heritage, they are very complicated people. If you are given the responsibility to say, Nazim, you're going to look after this old masjid, which is, I want it like that, the way it was 1,000 years ago. Apni ki korben? You're going to be very hard. You're not going to allow anything to move without your consent.
Yes,
you
yes,
so English heritage became a major obstacle to our Bangladesh Center. The building completely fell off. Everything fell off. It needed a substantial investment. So the council has served them lots of orders, legal orders, to close the building. And if they close that building, which they did, and there was no infrastructure in place to get the work done, we would not have Bangladesh Center anymore. I mean, oral management committee bolte parbe, amiyo ekjon member. So that became, for me, Junaid and my good friend Atik Bhai, three of us got together, and we thought we can do this quite easily. Yeah. And that challenge became a major challenge. And then I said to him, I remember telling the building convener, Mr. Muhibur Rahman Dilbar Bhai, who's the current General Secretary, and I said to them, when they opened that building, we said, 1971 was one war, and we won. And Bangladesh Center Rescue was exactly no different than 1971.
It was so tough.
It was so tough. Now I realize, Nazim Bhai, why deteriorated buildings which are listed are cheap. You see,
yeah, absolutely.
Because you have to have the skill set to be able to work at it, understand that knowledge. But all development, the work credit goes to my brother Junaid. The intellectual side of the thing goes to my partner Atik, and you could call me, I'm in the middle, buffering with our community brothers. But Alhamdulillah, I'm very, very pleased. I know when you do, if you are we short of time?
No,
when you do something, I never did that building anything just because I wanted to show we did it. It was we put our feet in it. We could not come out of it. But Alhamdulillah, everybody's on supporting us to recuperate our investment. And I think, people always praise me, you've done this, you've done. I did it completely, with the feeling that we're going to try and save the building. And, Alhamdulillah, someone like us don't need to be praised because, we are already there, everyone knows us. So it's a blessing, the building is saved, and that's one of our side of construction.
So I'll share some acknowledgement here. So your contribution through the business is immense. So Title, of course, at one point in time in our late 2000 and late 1990s, almost all Bangladeshis used one-to-one phone, yes?
Oh, of course, yes.
Then later on, known as T-Mobile.
Now
yes?
known as T-Mobile, then became EE.
Then became
That's
EE.
Right, yeah.
So So that is your contribution. I still remember your shop. Even I still remember even the signboard.
Oh my God,
I went
the
to your
one-to-one shop.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. The second contribution is you rescued a Bengali institution, in this case Janamata as a newspaper. And even if viewers you go there today, it still looks like a BBC newspaper.
Oh my God.
It's
Well,
current and flashing.
Wonderful words.
Yeah, amazing, amazing.
Thank
So
you
thank
very
you.
much, Nazim bhai.
And the third one is Rescuing Bangladesh Center. That will be a great legacy for all of us. Yes. So many thanks sir, for supporting the communities. Now I wanted to just ask.
Yes.
You have a long life ahead of you.
Make dua.
You have already achieved and given so much.
Oh my God.
What is the last hope that you have, or what is the final phase of hopes that you may have?
During our conversation, something, right at the beginning, you said something very interesting, that I'm very focused on families and everything else. And never did really worried about my wife or my kids. They're there with me. They're part of my blood. They're part of my life. And I think after I got married, if my wife didn't support me the way she did, nothing would have been possible. Your wife, sometimes when you go for everything, they're there like holding your hands. They're consenting to everything you're doing. And my children. And I think what I would, as you said, I just want to see, I would love Allah to show me that my children, all of them, they do well. They become independent in their own ways and never fight for the wealth of their father. And if anything is left over, they'll take it. So seeing them do well, that's how I look at life now.
So that's genetical legacy.
That is what I want to see now. I'm just which I show just okay.
Alhamdulillah,
otherwise we're where we are.
May Allah bless all your 3 sons and daughters.
Yes.
All the best in life. And from the community's perspective, I wanted to ask them, not only think about yourself, think about our community.
Definitely.
So that they can remain a solution to the community.
Yes.
Thank you very much, colleagues, for joining us. We have heard some wonderful anecdotes and stories and life stories of Amirul Bhai. We learned so much from each other, and I'm hoping that this event is also contributing to our societies and our knowledge base, so that we as Bengalis, we keep on learning, we keep on progressing, we keep on leaving better legacies for the future generations to come. Thank you for joining.